Rob Kendall, along with Tyler Bless, the head coach of the Plainfield Quakers. Coach, how's it going?
Doing well. How are you?
Great. So it took a little while longer than anticipated on Friday, but a win is a win. Uh, Great defensive performance. Let's start there. Obviously, anytime you shut out a team, you got to be proud of the defense. Let's start with that side of the football.
Yeah, absolutely. Second shutout of the year for us on defense. Good job by Coach Stu and the defensive staff and our defensive players. Um, was really pleased because Greenwood, I think before our game, was averaging about 33 points a game. They were obviously kind of doing on both ends. They were running the ball very well. They were throwing it when they needed to, but we were able to hold them to 0 points, which is a huge goal of ours. I thought Tyler Simic, one of our outside linebackers, played very well. Blue Jedawa, Thomas Strange, the back end of our secondary really did their job. We never really were. There was a few times where we were pressed on some fade routes, but for the most part, very pleased with our defense and very happy for them for really just the preparation that goes into it week to week. And then, obviously getting a shutout on a Friday night is really special for those young men.
So let's talk about two things. One, you're leading 7-0 going into the half. So let's talk a little bit about halftime. What does that conversation look like? Clearly, you'd like to be leading by more than just 7 points.
Yeah, I mean, I think at that point we probably only had about, I'm guessing here, maybe about 14 offensive plays. Whether it was a 3-and-out or, that first score that we had. Bryce had a nice, really long run. I think we scored maybe 2 or 3 plays later. So I don't think we were executing very well on offense. I don't think it was anything maybe that Greenwood had shown us defensively. It was just a lack of probably focus, to be honest with you, and just a lack of execution on all 11 positions. But that conversation is just kind of very matter of fact. Like, if we don't execute, then we're going to be in a dogfight. And if we start executing, we're going to do the things that we've been able to do for the last 4 weeks. So I thought our kids honestly adjusted to that well. We went out in the second half, got a nice really kickoff return, I believe, by Ethan Ellis. And I think we scored 3 plays later. So that was nice to, hey, we changed the tides. We got a 14-0 lead, put our defense back out on the field. I wouldn't necessarily say that they were driving, but, they're moving the ball a little bit. And then we get on our lightning delay for, I think it was over an hour. We came out and got a stop right away on defense, and it turned around 2 points. So that part of everything I was pleased about. I honestly think the defense was ready to go from the beginning. They did some things. Obviously, their quarterback was not available for Friday night. They played their running back at quarterback. That's something that we just adjust to. I don't think it really changed a whole lot of what they wanted to do because they're still going to want to run the ball. But in terms of execution on the defensive side of the ball, I was pleased with them for all 4 quarters.
So let's talk about the lightning delay. Obviously, you have a delay in the sense of halftime, and then you have a lightning delay, and kind of walk us through how you guys approached that, what you guys did during the time down, and how you get ready for what essentially is a super extended halftime after you've already had halftime.
Yeah. Our first message to the kids was like, hey, this is not like West Lafayette Harrison where I anticipate us having to go home and then come back on Saturday morning. So I said, hey, we're gonna be here for a while. I think we're gonna try to finish this game regardless of what time of night it is. I think they understood that. I didn't have my phone with me, so I didn't really know what the radar looked like, but I knew we had a chance of like past maybe that 10 o'clock window where we could get it in before maybe another cell comes. But you really you try to spread the kids out. You like to think that they're going to relax and just sit there and chill, but they're 15, 18-year-olds. So by no means was it horseplay or goofiness. It was just, it's almost like a large study hall of just waiting and waiting and waiting. So I thought our kids handled it a lot better than we did at Lafayette Harrison on that Friday night. But once it was ready to roll, it was like somebody came in and turned a switch on, and our kids were like very excited to play and enthusiastic. They were excited for each other. We went out and got a stop on defense, turned into points, and then we were rolling after that. So I thought the maturity level was much better from week 2 to week 5 when we had that first delay. And obviously it showed off because we went out and scored more points and found a way to win the football game. So very, very pleased with that.
When you look at the box score, I always enjoy looking at your box scores because the division of the running backs on Friday night it was much more even maybe than we've seen in the past from total yards. Wyrick 99 yards, Starnes at 117 yards. Did that
Yeah.
just happen organically, or is that something you guys were trying to make a concerted effort, say, hey, let's divvy this up a little bit on Friday night?
Honest to God, I think it's just kind of organically. I don't know what that means. That's a bigger word than I use in my vocabulary, but um, I feel great about both of those kids when they're in the ball game. I mean, Luke had 15 carries, Weston had 12. Both of them had 2 touchdowns. Both of them are running with authority. I think both have a different style of how they run, but it's plays to their strength rather than to their weakness. They both are good out of the backfield if we've got to run a flare route to them or a swing route to them. But really, our whole goal and probably mindset is to keep those two healthy as possible. Obviously, we're not keeping any secrets of what we want to do on offense. We threw the ball one time on Friday, really twice, but I think it was behind the line of scrimmage. But when you only have 36 offensive plays, that kind of not waters things down, but that really narrows down, the personnels you want to get in, the formations you want to get in. Like I said earlier, it felt like we were either, going 3 and out in that first quarter, or we were scoring in drives of, maybe 4 plays, 6 plays. The second half, it was a little bit of that too. So that discrepancy is a little bit different because we had 36 plays to Greenwood 65. So that puts our defense out on the field for a long time. The time of possession we had it for 15 minutes and 55 seconds. They had it for 32 minutes and 5 seconds. So that's a whole essentially a ball game for our defense to be playing. So for them to get 65 plays and for us to have the shutout is very, very proud of our defense for that, and things that they tried to force against us. We held our own, and we bent, but we never broke.
Yeah, I always chuckle at the box score as well because it's like the average person would see that box score and go 0 of 1 passing, 0 yards. Boy, coach is not going to be happy with that quarterback. But you are, right? I mean, he does everything you ask him to do, which is properly manage the football game.
Yeah, I mean, and his really long run that sparked our first touchdown was really a heads up play by him. We motioned that back out. We're trying to get the ball out to the running back, out to the perimeter. We've had success on that this year. Our perimeter blocking's been good by our receivers. That overhang defender for Greenwood kind of flies out. Bryce recognizes it, sees the gap right in kind of front of him, and he makes an athletic play for a long run that get us inside the red zone, and then we score on a couple of plays earlier. But he's doing a fine job. He's managing the game. I honestly, I would like to throw it just a little bit more. I say that, and then we get into these games where we're moving the ball so well. So I'm speaking out of both sides of my mouth, but there's going to be a game where we're going to have to throw it more than one time to win it, and I feel very confident that he's going to have the ability to do that and lead us to victory.
It's so rare to be able to basically tell a team. I mean, you hear coaches say all the time, well, we'd like to run the football. We needed to establish the run with the football. You're just basically telling teams, we're going to run the football at you. And I think it is such a kudos to not only those running backs, but obviously the offensive line that you guys are able to do that week in and week out when everybody kind of knows what you're going to do.
Yeah, I think at this point, our entire program has bought into it. I mean, our defensive guys are saying RTDB, so we're not hiding away from it. But there's no reason to now because we've got so much stuff on film now. But we're playing well. We've got some things to clean up. We've got guys that need to continue to rise and get better. But overall, yeah, we're playing to our strength, and that's veteran offensive linemen, that's veteran tight ends, that's veteran running backs. An inexperienced quarterback that's a sophomore that we're trying to manage the game with, and some receivers that are obviously doing a phenomenal job blocking. And when the ball's in the air, they're making a play on the ball. So pleased with our offense, happy for them, but obviously not satisfied in terms of, we haven't really accomplished anything other than the wins that we're expected to go 1-0 each week.
All right, let's thank our sponsors that make Plainfield football possible each week. They include Remax Centerstone, Julia Burbridge, Gannell Financial, Crone Family Construction, My IT Indy, Ryan Grimes, I-70 Wrecker Service and Garage, BGW Construction LLC, Legacy Motorsports, Crestpoint Real Estate, Chris Pearson, Sell with Jones, the Stewart Home Group, and Ellis and Associates. All right, so 5-0, Coach. We have now passed the halfway point of the regular season. And obviously, you guys had a really good start to the season last year. Didn't finish quite as you wanted. What did you learn from last year, and how are you applying it to this year as we enter that second phase of the regular season?
Yeah, I think first thing you have to really look at each team differently from year to year. You've got different you have different leadership, you have different players, they probably have a different philosophy from year to year. So you don't always you kind of get caught up in like comparing last year to this year, but I think honestly our team makeup is completely different than last year's team, and that's not a knockoff on last year's team. That's just each team's got a different chemistry. It's got a different kind of leadership of how we want to do things and where we want that direction to go. I think our kids are understanding the things that winning is requiring each week is different, and what they have to do to work for it. And each opponent has a different strength to them or a different weakness to them. So we've adapted to the things that we're good at. Okay, what's this team that we're getting ready to play? Where are they good at? And that needs to be our focus for that week. Very, excuse me, very coach speak here, but you really try to take it 1 week at a time. There's no really reason to look ahead. I mean, the rest of our games in the regular season are going to be hard. They've been hard for the first 5, so I would expect the same for the next 4 weeks and getting into sectionals. But we're happy where we're at in terms of our goals are right in front of us. They're still obtainable. We've done a great job of putting ourselves in a great position, but we still got a ways to go on what we want to accomplish, and that's just really trying to truly break it down and just have a great Monday practice and then have a great Tuesday practice. And all those things are just one day at a time and not looking ahead on, what we can or can't control sometimes.
All right, so week 6, we're going to be back at home, Decatur Central. It's always a rivalry game. What do the Hawks bring to the table?
Yeah, they're 2-2. Their week 2 game versus New Pal when we played West Lafayette Harrison was essentially just canceled. There was no winner or loser or tie. So they've got 4 games under their belt. They won Friday night versus Mooresville. They've got experience as always. Their quarterback is a very solid player. He's very athletic. They've got a lot of skill guys that are athletic and fast. They're decent size up front. They're going to want to run the ball as well, but they want to get the ball out to the perimeter to their fast athletic guys. Defensively, they're flying around to the ball. They're making plays. We're going to have a great week of practice of just controlling our attitude and our effort, and then focusing on executing and making sure that we're doing the little things that it takes for us to put ourselves in a position to win the football game on Friday.
As you enter the later phase of the season, and obviously we'll be 2/3 of the way through after this week, does coaching change for you? Does preparation change for you? Like, do you start preparing for the postseason? Does anything get different as we head to that final third of the regular season?
We do some drills throughout the practice week, Monday through Thursday. We call it a certain name that we want to focus our sectional opponents on. And that's about the only time that we talk about our sectional opponents. But that period or periods and practices are focused on the 3 teams in our sectional. It's not necessarily us prepping for them in terms of what they're doing schematically, but it's good on good, and it's iron sharpening iron. And the focus is when that time comes in sectional in October and November that we know who our opponents are. We're familiar with them. But that's about the far extent that we go in terms of talking about them. We know that right now we're kind of focused on our conference play and going 1-0 versus each mid-state opponent.
All right, let's thank once again, one final time, our sponsors that make Plainfield football broadcast possible, both the coaches show and the live broadcast. Remax Centerstone, Julia Burbridge, Gannell Financial, Crone Family Construction, My IT Indy, Ryan Grimes, I-70 Wrecker Service and Garage, BGW Construction LLC, Legacy Motorsports, Crestpoint Real Estate, Chris Pearson, Sell with Jones, the Stewart Home Group, and Ellis and Associates. All right, coach, as we do each week, let's wrap it up. Maybe somebody or someone's behind the scenes who doesn't get a lot of publicity or spotlight, but you couldn't do Plainfield football without them.
Yeah, I think this week's appropriate to really thank the people in our quarterback club. Those are moms and dads and some grandmas and some uncles that really do a phenomenal job for our kids. Whether it's packing snack bags for away games for our freshman team on Saturdays or for our varsity team on Fridays. Each Thursday we have a team meal here in the team room. Sometimes those are sponsored by people here in the community. Other times that is us providing those. But we've had great turnout of great meals for one, great people serving those meals, parents always doing what kind of, hey, what do you need help with this week? How can we help? So a lot of kudos goes to our quarterback club for what they've done for our young men in our program. I know that our kids every Thursday are always fired up to know what the team meal is, and to get a team meal before a Friday football game is special in my opinion. And I think our quarterback club has done a tremendous job of just providing those things for us, and we're very thankful for what they do.
All right, 5-0, coach. Let's get a big win on Friday night. We'll look forward to talking with you again next week, hopefully about a 6-0 Plainfield squad. Good luck, coach.
All righty. Thank you. Have a great week.